everyone, Ivy League Gaming here, and today we're playing Watcher of Realms. And for today, I am joined by Mortar Mike. Welcome, welcome. First time to the channel.
Woo, woo. What's going on, amazing people? As you know, it is go time.
Yes, I'm so happy to have you. If you guys don't know him, number one, obviously, go subscribe. We're doing a collab on his channel too, so there'll be another link in the description and pinned comment as well. But you're a newer content creator to the scene, so you might be unfamiliar to some folks, but I don't think for long. I think you're killing it. I think you're killing it.
My goal is to keep adding value to you guys. You guys are dope. The community's awesome. I love the main people that I see make stuff, and then I see so many additional people that are making content and growing. And so I think it's just an awesome community. It's mostly positive, and the game's fun too, which is a nice plus. So I'm happy to be here. Oh yeah, I can look into the camera too. Happy to be here, kicking some butt today.
And how long have you been playing? Have you been playing since launch, or are you a little later start?
A little bit later. So I think I can actually find out here on my screen here. I am at day, I think I'm like just over day 100 and something. So I'm at day one. Oh gosh, what is this? 109. I'm at day,
I don't even know what day I'm on anymore. It's fine.
Exactly. I'm at 109. So a little over 3 months. I freaking loved it. I love tower defense games. And I was like, tower defense with champions. I was like, yeah, I'm sold. And plus, I couldn't wait for a Hydra hit anymore, so I had to do something.
We're all former raid players. We're like, screw that game.
Yeah, I was like, it's time. I'm like, something's got to give. This is taking 5 ever. Come on.
And yeah, we have you on today to talk about the Immortal Codex, which is one of your favorite new topics, right? When it comes to Watcher of Realms.
Yes, I love when games have modifiers and like ways to adjust the content that's already in there and still make it fun and refreshing. And Immortal Codex is a good example of it. And I mean, plus I love any game that has like a horde mode or like a survival mode in it. So give me 3 of them. And the rumor has it there's more than 3. So give me that. And
yeah, what I love about Immortal Codex is that we can play it all damn day and min-max the crap out of it if you want to, or you can do it once and be done. You can decide. So just so people realize, there are some things opening, and yes, it looks like they're all going to be open at one time, and it will be all open at one time, but you don't have to do them all every day. It's going to be where it's not going to be daily rewards like it was during the Frostfall event. It's going to be, for the week, you get your best score. So if you do that all in one day on one boss, one day on another boss, one day on another, or you could play with them all every day if you want. So it's going to be a little different than our beta phase of it.
Yeah, I think it's good that they did it that way too, because you wanted to have everybody have the same experience at the same time and then talk about it, and then now everybody's free to kind of do their own thing. So it took the training wheels off essentially.
And I think both of our favorite things about the Immortal Codex, which is what today's topic is going to be, is that we are bringing value to some characters that we stopped playing or never booked or never played in the first place. We're going to value surge some characters here. We are going to take them, what'd you say, from hate to great?
Look, some characters were straight hated, and for different reasons.
So true.
So now people are like, I hope I get them. Why did I crunch them? I hope you never crunch them. Don't crunch them. But now they're amazing. So we had to discuss today.
Yeah, there's so many that I was surprised to see at the top of the leaderboard. So we're gonna go through. Let's start with the Conqueror boss.
All right.
I'm gonna pick one right away that I think I'm sure you utilized as well, but it's kind of a semi-free hero that I think gets tossed away very quickly. Abomination.
Oh yes. Why did I not put Abomination on my list? You're right. You're absolutely right. Yes.
He's so good. He's in a lot of, like, almost all of the top teams have Abomination in them, especially if they don't have like Ardea. But whatever, we all can't have her. But he's got AoE damage.
She's evading me. She's evading me like directly. She's avoiding me.
Me too.
I think because of my nickname for her, it's the reason.
Oh no, what's that?
It was this chick with the blades because I couldn't remember her name.
Poor Ardea.
Let's summarize it down to one champion with blades in the game.
So Abomination was something I never had to fuse because I got him very early and I kept getting dupes. but I actually just fused my Awaken 4 just because I was like, I might as well. I'm using him somewhere. Maybe I'll get that Awaken 5 eventually. But I actually, yeah, I'm highly using him now, and it's fun to bring him out. I mean, he kind of gets benched for Guild Boss, right? Very quickly, depending on who else you get. He's amazing early on, but I feel like he just kind of falls off. Did you stop playing him too? Or how do you feel about him?
So what's interesting was like, I think that he's a great core champion to have in the game, and I'm glad they made him where you can fuse him and put him in there. I use him a little bit less often, but I still use him as a good defense for like Gear Raid 1. When I learned you could put him down and face him, to the left or to the right, and he just covers that area, which is awesome. And I use him a little bit in the end of Void Rift when I need to take down Lasir. I put him in the mix too because he can get pretty tanky and hold down.
Yeah, it does a little bit of both.
Yeah. It's just good because it's like he does a lot of things in the kit, but I don't use him in a lot of places. But in the core spots, it's always great when you have a champion that's like, okay, this champion is a good idea. A tiny bit of kind of unkillable in his kit. So
that's true. It's true. Yeah, invulnerability.
Yeah,
like
he's a beast.
Unyielding. All right. Well, who else do you have for the Conqueror boss? Who do you think got a nice value surge?
So I have one. I think the first one is obvious, but I'm gonna do a pivot. I think that Gluttony was a champion that was ignored and is now great. Gluttony because two things. One, because he has an ability, and Awakens play a part too. He has an ability, I think it's called Smash. And Smash, he has a chance of doing of basically not an AoE attack, but he can hit multiple enemies at once, which is 5. And when he goes to Awaken 3, he can hit 3 more. So it's 8 enemies.
Yeah, so that's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, and the cool part about it is you can kind of tweak this a little bit too. So you can also I was about to spoil it. No, you know what I'm saying in this video. I'm going to give an artifact that makes him really awesome. It's the Watchguard's Ambition. It looks like a black hole, but that allows him to proc his basic attack more often, which allows him to proc Smash more often. So he's not like a solid AoE champion, but he does a lot of AoE hits. I'm sorry, guys. I had to mention why. I had to. But it's a really good combination, and he was surprisingly really good in Conqueror. He covered the ground. He's right by the wall, and he covered it really well. And plus, if he needed health, he just ate stuff. So that was great.
Yeah, and the fact that he's HP based for damage is nice. Super tanky. Just like I kind of always considered him like the baby abomination because he's like the other tanky version of
I was
fighter.
Like, man, this. And I just tried him just to do it. And then, he's Nightmare Faction too. So he gets the attack speed increase. And so he's just over there just mealing away. It's just Golden Corral for him. So he's happy.
Nice. Yeah. And so, guys, he mentioned artifacts. That's actually going to be our collab over on his channel. We're going to be talking about special artifacts that pair well with heroes for the Conqueror boss specifically and for Immortal Codex. That'll be a fun conversation about which things have the best synergy. I think that's going to be really cool to talk about.
Yeah, especially since there's new ones that's added too. So there's a couple little curveballs out there. It's dope.
All right, let's see. I'm going to talk about another one for the Conqueror boss. I'm going to go with Volca, actually. I feel like she was just mostly used for cheeses, right? It's like, oh, the Volca shot, you just use her to cheese. But you're not usually using her for actual damage. Like, even in Guild Boss, you're putting an invigoration set on her and allowing her to boost another hero, and then maybe taking advantage of her vulnerabilities or her damage reduction here. There's like a lot you can kind of take advantage of. Yeah, the vulnerabilities here, but not necessarily caring about her damage. But she was actually pretty impressive in this. So she actually does damage herself, and her awakenings, of course, or not her awakenings, her passive allows for some health restoration of your whole team, so you don't need to worry about having a ground-based healer as they made us feel like we needed in the beginning, which we totally do not need.
I remember you were trying options for that too, and I was like, man, this is going to be tough. And I was like, wait a second. Volca could probably do the job. She could probably do it. And she does a surprising amount of damage too.
I built a Mariel. I didn't need a dang Mariel. Like, poor Mariel got built and then benched.
I was watching that video and I clicked on my Mariel and I was like, wait, she's not doing what she wants to do. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, it
I'll
was
find a
not
different
worth
slot
it. It
for you.
wasn't good enough.
She might be useful soon, though. Hey, she
Yes,
might be
you're
the next
right.
Hate to Great.
Maybe. It's true.
Hmm. Sauce. So I'll give one more for Conqueror. I think people already know where I was heading with this one because I made a full video about this guy, and that is Azor, my man with the red hammers. This guy
I love it.
saved my freaking comp because um when I was playing, my champions would just keep dying. They couldn't get the damage in. I had to have Volca in to get some kind of heals. Azor saved the day for two reasons. One, he gave damage to the entire team through his Fortifying Sparks passive, and that also pairs up with his ultimate. But the Fortifying Sparks gives a shield equal to his defense, like 100% to I think 120% of his defense, which is lovely. And he also gives a damage increase, which I think is at what 10% and it scales to 20. Yeah. I got it right. I remember some of this. Nice. And when he does that, the biggest reason it's great is because one, it makes everybody more tankier so they live longer. But number two, it is wonderful because I use Cerberus and I use Aatrox. And he gives them shields, even though they can't be like directly healed by Volca's passive. He gives them shields, and they eat through the shields instead of their own health, which means they last a lot longer in the battle. I'm trying that today. I'm literally gonna just get right back into it because I didn't have Lunacy Visor. Oh my gosh, my whole list is spilling here, but we're gonna work. But with that, I didn't have a way to keep them alive, and I said Brokir, wow, they look alike. Okay. Azor was the way that I kept my champions lasting longer in the battle. I mean, gave me shields when everybody needed it, gave an increase of damage to everybody on there, and his ultimate, I think, his attacks when they're in a heated state, which means he's hit his hammer a few times, every hit has a 30% chance of inflicting stun. And his range, you see the video there, his range is like a 9 grid in front of him. It's way bigger than you think the one block in front.
Yeah.
It covers the whole front area of the Conqueror fight. So he's stunning like 5 different things at once, and he's just all you hear is the little hammers going to work. So he's really, really good if you have him. I promise you, if you need a way to keep your champions alive, Azor does a surprisingly good job at keeping them in the fight. So I had to give him justice once again.
I love it. I'm one of the very few content creators that have said I don't hate Azor at all. Like I feel like so many people hate him. Yeah. I'm like I don't hate him, but he's one of those definitely that when you summon him, you're paying the tax. He's never one that people are excited to summon. So we need to give people reasons to be excited to summon him, right?
yeah, because he's not Poor like Azor. The traditional defender. Because everybody thinks, oh, do you have unyielding or gigantic shields? Yeah. If you don't have those things, he's like a support defender. He makes everybody around him better at doing their job, which is usually doing damage.
DPS. He is.
Yeah,
I use him in an artifact material raid on one of the ends to protect, and then he's killing the enemies too. Brokir just sits there like a damn ice. He's just a block of ice who doesn't move. He does nothing. Azor's killing the enemies. So I feel like if anything, Azor brings more value than Brokir brings me in something like artifact material raid.
And the range, I will say this too, last but not least, the range of Tempering Sparks is like 3 tile ranges around him. So it's huge. So he can give shields from a good distance away. I wish it showed
that better, but it doesn't.
Exactly. People just say, oh, the kit's not amazing, but he's got all this stuff that you got to just play with him and see it. And then you're like, okay, I see why he's great now. Haha, I hate to great.
I agree. Yay for love for Azor. I approve.
Tell you. Look. He's great when you need him. He's great where he's needed. That's for sure.
All right, well, next up, we should probably move on to our other boss. We have that Wasteland Titan. There was definitely some surprises there. And there was one that I knew was going to be good because I heard the things. People were like, oh, hold on. Nobody likes her now. She's just boring now. But just wait. There's content coming where you're going to need her. And sure enough, as someone who does not have her, I'm still sad. I think she was like the most beautiful character in the game for one. She's just stunning.
Dope. Seriously, dope.
She's so pretty. And then I wanted her in the first place. Like, okay, she's an amazing healer, nothing else. Well, sometimes you just need an amazing healer. Like, Why isn't that good enough? Why isn't that enough? And her range is bonkers. when you get this
So
Awaken
I want to
3,
know
oh
more
my
about this champion.
god.
Please enlighten me. I want to know. This is dope. This is dope.
Her range, so she starts off kind of like that Dolores-y type range, right?
Yeah.
But her Awaken 3, if you get lucky enough to get dupes, I want her and I want dupes. It becomes like this massive square all around her. It's huge. I don't know the exact amount of
Ooh.
tiles. I didn't count them, but this extended range is massive for her. So she's got a really
Nice.
quirky. Yeah, I think it allows her to cover a lot more than you'd expect. But she's in all the top tier comps, right? All of them.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy? I think people didn't like this champion because it was on a banner. I can't remember the champion that she was with, but people wanted the other champion that was on the
Yeah, I
banner.
think you're right. I wish I could remember who she was with too. But
Exactly. And so people were like, oh, I pulled Aelin. I wanted this one instead. And, I'd rather get that one. But like a week or two later, now is one of the top champions for the content that comes out. So she got a lot of, oh, I pulled this champion straight into, oh my God, this champion's in like the top 5 teams of scores. Yeah. Aelin's a beast. Aelin's a beast. Just off of raw heals himself. You don't have to have complicated kits. Sometimes they just work well.
And that's, the Titan is all about healing and cleansing. So who else do you have? Anyone else for the Titan that you think came out?
Oh, so okay, for the Titan, I have. So if you watch my content, you'll know about this champion. But this champion is almost like the polar opposite of what you think you need. It's a healer. It is Dasomi. It is Dasomi.
Yeah. Not many people have this one. That's the difference. That's the hard part.
Yeah. But the problem is everybody that gets Dasomi, I always say she, but it's a guy or he, or at least the voice sounds like a he. But he has this ability right here called Magic Incense. It dispels debuffs every 2 seconds. And what's crazy about this is he throws it over and over again on champions, whether they need healing or not. So we can't tell how often we're getting that debuff in that Immortal Codex boss. So we don't know how bad it's hurting us until you do a run where nobody has to worry about it. And you see the difference really in it.
I think when he came out, it was like no need for cleansers when he came out. So people were like, man, he's terrible.
Yeah, and chaotic champions are really difficult to build around. So, usually think of having a whole chaotic team. And then with the talent, it has a chance to go twice as long, so it can last 12 seconds. And so, like, you think about it this way, he is essential for keeping debuffs off the team. His ultimate allows him to do it to 3 champions at once. So all he's doing is just throwing these buffs out, and the buffs just sit on the characters. If the characters fall below 50% health, they instantly start to get healed. This is wonderful for your attack-based healers that aren't built as tanky, and they fall down below that bar a lot more often. Now your other healers can focus on other targets because Dasomi can literally heal like 7 champions at once up to 50%. So it's not to look at as a powerful healer, but it's just a really good emergency button, like a panic button. Oh crap, we're getting demolished. And then you'll start to see, if you last long with the Dasomi on the team, you'll see her heals actually go up a good bit in your scores at the end. It's not going to be the Aelin, but you'll see like, oh my goodness, that much actually came from this champion.
The dispelling is so important for that boss. It makes a big difference. So
I can't think of a champion in the game that dispels better than Dasomi because the regular attack does it every 2 seconds. Like,
yeah, that's crazy. It's more consistent. Yeah, that's awesome. I when I first put out content on that boss, people are like, "Why is nobody talking about Dasomi?" I'm like, not many people have them. So to be
that's
fair,
a reason too. Of course, yeah.
It's like her. It's like, oh, she's like the best healer in the game now. Yeah, who has her? I don't know, not me.
Exactly. She was out for 1 weekend before the Codex.
Okay, I like
Why
it.
aren't you doing content on her? I don't own them.
Yeah, that's always the case too. I'm glad you said that because I personally have never played with this hero, so it's good to know that there's definitely value there.
In times of desperation, you start to figure out what champions can do other things for you too.
It's true. I mean, this boss was just like, whatever healers you got, just put them in there.
Set the ultimates to auto and just keep going.
Of course, I think the obvious one to mention is Madame, but she was never bad, I would say. So I'm actually, I don't want to say Nasande is either, but she gets benched. I
Yes.
feel like I
Yes.
was surprised to see her in a lot of the top comps because I was like, does she really bring enough? But she's interesting. I
That's a
don't
good
know.
choice.
I saw her in almost every top comp and I was surprised by it. So it was kind of nice to see her come back out of the woodworks as well cuz I feel like you get her early on, you're going to use her, but then for most content you're going to replace her with Hollow or the legendaries or some others that bring a little bit
Exactly.
more.
I think what made Nasande so great for this content was that every one of the champions had a range they can heal in, and Nasande's bounce heals can heal outside of that range. So she
Oh,
can reach
yeah.
further to heal more things. And so those heals really piled up because there's always something that needed healing, and it just kept bouncing out. Plus, the little bit of attack speed increase isn't bad. But once people saw, like, oh my goodness, I can't heal these two Aonas on the corner, and they see
That's
bounces going
true.
over and doing it, I was like, she's earning her keep.
I didn't use her personally, actually. I just saw her used by so many, and I thought
Yeah.
it was yeah, a good one to see come back out of the come back out for
I
some
will recommend
use.
if somebody has her, use her and just watch those bounces doing like her
Okay.
ultimate. Just watch them just dance up the map like the little reading sentences where the little words are
Yeah,
bounce, the ball would bounce on top. That's basically what happens to the champions.
I like it. That's really cool. It's kind of like an Ezrein that people like, oh, he's single target, but he can heal anywhere on the board, so
You
he
can heal
covers more
anywhere.
than he's the Idril of healers.
Yeah, he's a sniper healer. He shoots out
Oh,
health grenades.
so is there any others you want to talk about for Titan, or do you want to move on to Sticks?
Let's see, for Titan, I think that is my full list. Yeah, it's my full list for Titan. That's a full list.
All right,
I had to
guys, remember
double
we are
check.
talking about underrated heroes. So obviously there's different. You could say are the top tier, but we're talking about people
Yeah,
that most people don't like or don't use much that we're finding value for. So
exactly. Don't get stuck on the hype train. Yeah,
yep,
don't get stuck on the
exactly.
hype train of this champ is bad and then you just assume they're bad for every place. Some kits really stand out in this content. And oh my goodness, I can't wait for the next version of it.
Yes,
Oh,
I'm
oh.
excited. I'm actually excited because I know you have a quirky one for the sticks. I want to hear what's your
Yes.
underrated sticks
Okay,
hero.
so I'm going to say, so what's funny is I don't know this champion is necessarily underrated, but they were the biggest surprise for Styx. And this was
Okay.
Carnelia, the healer, the chaotic
Oh,
faction healer. Carnelian, she is it's the first one on the second row. Yes. She
yeah.
has this ability of anti-death where she allows you basically to ignore the AoE attack mechanic of the boss. So you build her with crazy attack speed and you let her do her ability. What she does is she does this wave of heals. And if it reaches champions 7 times, it basically gives them the ability to have unyielding when they're supposed to die. So the AoE hit will come through, and it'll slap all your champions, but most of them wouldn't die. But I would say most of them because you might want to have like a Torador or something in there. But that allowed people to completely ignore the shield mechanic, keep your champions in the fight. And this champion like was in some of the top teams. But if you
Yeah.
weren't playing this content, you didn't think of a need to because you're like, well, I just want my champions at full health. They don't get attacked that often, so you don't need full health in that content for the sticks. So Carnelian is definitely like, even if you look on the list, well, you can't look on the list now, but
Yeah,
look
now
up
we
some of the
can.
content creators. I think I made a video when I talked about sticks and I showed like how a few people broke the shield. If you look on the list, Carnelian is like in the top 10 of like 2 or 3 of the teams. So
Yeah,
it's a
I didn't
really
know much
interesting
about her
comp.
personally, so it's cool.
I really just want to get it because the aesthetic is so cool.
She
I
is
mean, this is
cool.
Warlord into Watch of Realms basically.
Yeah, she's really neat. I'm glad. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
really interesting thing. I hadn't even noticed that about her kit. Really good one.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
like you get them and you forget about them because you can't think of where to put them. But then it's like, okay, we can ignore the shield
And that's kind
completely.
of yeah, that's kind of the key. So luckily, guys, we should probably say now before that content comes out, they are changing it. They did fix it a little bit to be
Mhm.
easier, so it doesn't not going to require as many hits to break the shield, and there and some other adjustments. We don't know exactly what that looks like yet because we haven't done it though.
Yeah,
So some of these
yeah,
people might not be as needed. Like maybe we won't need her, or maybe we won't need my choice, which is Sadie. because maybe we could actually do it the way it's intended, which just means hit the boss a lot.
Exactly.
But Sadie kind of brings out the cheese, which we kind of needed to survive it. She was like the first one that was like the obvious. And I feel like obviously she's a Gear Raid 2 hero. And then maybe some people use her for a guild boss. If you can't you can't break the shield and then survive the spit, you can cheese that with Sadie. But other than that, like, nobody uses Sadie anywhere, right? Like, she's a Gear Raid 2 hero is like her thing. So at least we had another use for Sadie. I was happy to give her some more action on my account.
Some more TLC. And it's funny, like, we had to get really innovative with how could we beat this, because I mean, on my third or fourth shield, if it's 440 hits, I'm sitting here like, well, good luck, Voroth. Like, just swing away, bro. But that's all we could do. So we have to find ways to circumvent it. It may not be as, like you said, it may not be as needed now, but it's great because it's an alternative if you don't have these other options and you still need a way to win. You need to know all the different ways that you can get it done. You gotta know them. You have to know them. And I know Carnelian was a hard champion to pull, so that's a very rare instance.
You're like, you look at you and Dasomi and your fancy ass chaotic faction heroes must be nice.
It wasn't nice when I pulled them and couldn't use them anywhere.
But yeah, using some people that barely get used more often is kind of that's been fun for me. I agree.
Yeah.
All right. What about you? You had a fun little marksman. That's what I was talking about. Who's your out of here?
Yes.
You gotta tell the people
this
one.
So I have two of them. I'm gonna go with the first. I'm gonna go with the easy to assess one, and this is one that people like the first day they knew Styx was coming was going to be a champion they loved, and that was Tazira. Tazira is she's the epitome of get a lot of hits in fast. The problem was people didn't like this champion because they didn't do really high damage because their stats were really limited in how much damage you can do. But her main thing is landing a ton of shots. Her ability, her ultimate rapid fire is like it's just a boatload of hits in a quick amount of time, and that's what you need. And so it's just great to have a champion that just does one thing exceptionally well, and let's get those hits down for you. And then now they're going to have like the damage increase afterwards and like the rage increase. Now she has a chance to do some decent damage on the back end once we get to fight that boss. So I think Tazira was very slept on up until this point because I think it was like, we call them the Pokemon champs.
Oh yeah, she's like the one that you pull in the very first day that's like the least wanted.
Exactly. And now she's like you hope to have her for this comp because now that the shields are lower, there's a much better chance she's going to be in a lot of teams because she's going to make that part a lot easier for players. A lot more accessible, that's for sure.
Yeah, she's definitely one. I'm not going to lie. When you said Tazira, I didn't even realize people were using her for that boss because I didn't remember a single thing about her kick because I haven't looked at her ever since.
She was hated. She was very hated.
Yeah, I have not looked at her since day one, probably. Not gonna lie.
Well, she also has a good drop rate. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure most people that have played for a while have A5 Taziras ready to go.
Yeah, and you don't even know what the awakens are. You just have them. She's just sitting in the corner.
Well, hopefully with the new changes to the Styx boss, her ability to like help knock out the count will become even more valuable because then if that's enough and we don't have to cheese it with Sadie or cheese it with Vortex and Laurel, whatever the hell else people were doing, or King Hars or whatever, because we all have him
Avoid
too.
King Hars.
King Hars.
Don't laugh. King Hars is like my third champion, so don't laugh.
Oh my gosh.
I was on the road to greatness, I guess.
Oh wow. But I love this. This is me. I'm really hoping that with the new changes that I'm gonna build Tazira and hope she can be a big part of my team. I'm excited to have an excuse to use her.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much it. Like, and you'll see like the number. Like I like to do where I do runs of just that champion just to see how many hits they get. That's how I found out Cetrum does like 9 hits per volley, and I was like, okay, time to do some head maths. And then Alistair would pop up and let me know that I was getting it wrong. Okay, the other one, this champion was hated because there was always champions that did the job better, and that is none other than the marksman Calypso. I think Calypso was one of the most hated to pull champions in the game because people didn't want to wait until the build-up was ready. You wouldn't use her in arena because she just took too long to get ready. And But the thing about it is, if you've been playing, especially if you've been willing, to be honest, willing to get into those A5s. I get it. But her seal stones are basically individual attackers. At A5, we'll talk about this because this is a stream version. At A5, she gets one more seal stone, which means she has 5 and her attacking, which is 6 hits. And she also has an ability that allows her to attack 2 times per hit. So it's 12 hits per attack. So that's insane.
That's
but even
crazy.
if it's not A5,
I didn't realize it. That adds up a lot.
Yeah, even if it's not A5, it's 10 hits per attack. I think it's like there it is right there, the 2-hit combo, the Eldritch Blessing. It's like it's not always happening, but that's an insane amount of hits coming from one champion without having to wait on the ultimate. Like seal stones, they come up and they stay. So you don't have to tap the ultimate for another one to be ready or to proc them. It's just consistently hit. So I think Calypso, and she does really good damage. So I don't know if that's the epitome of what late game means. Just wait until I'm all revved up. But
literally, it's so funny for her because she's one of those heroes that we all hate her early until you get A5. Then all of a sudden she's one of the best champions on your account. You're like, until she's A5, who cares? But once she's A5, everyone wants her, and it's so weird.
And I want this champion so badly so I can use him in the stakes boss. I just want to see those hits go up, like. And she's in the top teams too, so it's dope. It's dope. Calypso's definitely my top wanted champion from Hate to Great.
That's fun. Okay, yeah, I've had Calypso, just not used her in a long time either.
I'm jealous. I need her. Also, I need her to have an ability where she calls the Kraken up for some reason. I just need it.
So I think I want to end by teasing a champion to come. Oh. So. We know what's coming. We can see it's the Titan and it's the Styx boss again. But the Forerunner server people have 2 new bosses coming. One of them looks like Sulcadens and one of them looks like Boreas, I think, actually. But the Sulcadens boss, actually, spoiler alert, if you guys don't want to know, spoiler alert, you have been warned. It's going to be all about defenders. And there's one defender who I was looking at through the video that I saw. I want to give a shout out to Sebastian Keynes. I will include that video in case you guys want to watch it. He posted that today, showcasing that boss. And one girl was on the list, like all the top people.
Evelyn Perry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Evelyn Perry.
It's a lot. It is definitely Katy Perry. You're not wrong. But I guess the boss is really going to be reliant upon blocking. The more block chances, the better, and also shields. And she does both. So her promotions actually give her an extra block. So she has 4 as her base block. And then there's some artifacts, which we'll talk about in his video briefly, that pair really well with that to make it even better. And she brings... So she brings a lot. Like she's going to stun, crowd control. Okay, cool. She's gonna bring a higher block rate than most other defenders in the game, naturally, just by promoting her. And then her awakenings, which most people are gonna have her awaken because she's an easy to acquire epic. She actually give her shields for even more survivability, which is gonna be really helpful too. So
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
See, that's dope. Like I love that when they make games like this where they make content where every champion gets a chance to shine or they're somewhat usable in that stuff. I mean, shout out to the rares, you guys are still loved. But
oh yeah, sorry.
but you're more loved as gems, so be honest. But I love the fact that this game allows you to say, okay, these champions aren't great in this thing, but they're great in this thing. And they make content where the champions shine. I think that's a good sign of a healthy game instead of, oh, this kit sucks, you'll never use them. Are they good? You look up videos and you find out they're terrible everywhere instead of useful somewhere.
Or the opposite. Eternal Evolution went down this route, which really made a lot of people turned off. Every time new content comes out, you need the new heroes for them or you can't beat it. That's the opposite. This game is literally doing the opposite. This game is bringing out... well, I shouldn't say the opposite. It's doing a mixture. It's bringing out some new heroes like Eileen that you might be like, I don't know where I'm going to use her, but they're like, don't worry, we got you. And then they're pulling people out of the woodworks like a Tazira or an Evelyn that no one would have ever built unless they had to. So I think they're doing a good job.
I agree. Even before the event with like sticks and stuff, of course it was overtuned with the shield count, but they allowed you to just buy Voroth from the event with Falcia. Like you could just buy an epic champion in the store. Like if that's not preparing you for the next thing and saying, hey,
True.
get this and making it accessible, I don't know what it is. Like that's good. That's good game development for sure. Of course, the
Very
shield had to be tuned because Voroth was
Oh
hitting with all
man.
his passion.
It's very true.
Look
All
at
right,
this. Look at
so
this.
I know. Look at all these people and these crazy. I know
I
some
need
of
to make
these.
a hashtag
I
bring back
want her.
Reeve.
I know,
Yes, I
right?
need RJO.
Oh well, we're gonna talk more about this over on your channel. So thank you, Mike, for joining me. It was really nice to have you. I definitely have to have you back in the future.
Yes, it was indeed a pleasure. It was dope. I love talking about this stuff. Can you guys tell? I love talking about this stuff. And I got to do with Ivy. I've been making content for like a month, and this is the community we have, y'all. So I'm so, so happy. And I appreciate this opportunity. Thank you. Thank you a million. Seriously, thank you. This is dope. This is great.
Well, yeah, if you guys are not already subbed to him, go give him a sub, go check out his content, and head on over to his channel to watch our other part of this collab regarding the Conqueror boss and which artifacts you should be putting on those key heroes we need to use. So
Yes.
thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.